Hello everybody and welcome to my bullet journal setup for 2018. This setup I'm using a Leuchtturm bullet journal and it's a brand new one. So I'm just flipping through the table of contents here to get to the first page. The first page is going to be a year at a glance and it's just going to contain all of the years and the dates. Most people I know don't use this page or don't include it, or they include it but they don't really use it more for than just sort of a glancing back. I'm actually going to use this page to record the times that we have the emergency phone, which we use at our work and rotate through 4 of us. And so that's what those boxes at the top that I'll eventually go over with the Faber-Castell pen. And there you can see I made a little mess up, which is something that everybody does, and part of having a bullet journal helps you to sort of learn how to deal with mess ups and sort of move on with it and not let it bother you as much. And what I'll do is go ahead and get a Tombow, and I'll choose a color for everybody and go ahead and put those in those boxes, and then throughout the year I can just highlight the days with that Tombow pen to see the difference in the changes in who has it. And as you can see here, I'm using a Tombow pen. I think this is N95 to shade in the days of the week, and then just going back over that part. And just putting the final touches and going back through and filling in those places so I can do a faux calligraphy type of lettering. This next page is going to be my future planning log, and so every little square is going to be a month, and then I'm going to fill in the calendar there, and that way throughout the year I can flip to this page if I'm going to be planning something far ahead and go ahead and jot it down. Then whenever I get to that month in my bullet journal, I can just flip back to this page and easily know the things that are coming up for that month. And it's just a nice way to keep up with things. And so now I'm using another Tombow pen to do the days of the week, and it's a mint colored, which I really like, and I'll probably use several times throughout the bullet journal. I'm sure you'll see that pen recur. So just a note on how I do my bullet journaling, because it is a little bit different than most people do it. So I'm setting this part up, but after that, most people have sort of a monthly spread, and then they go on to do these dailies. And the dailies are things that they have to do that day, etc. For me, that doesn't really work well because I do have a job that I go to from 7 to 6 at night, and there's not really a schedule that I set up for that. You know, it's kind of I go and you see rooms and then you go home. And unless you have the emergency phone, you're off. And if you have the emergency phone, it's not like you can schedule that. So I do things a little bit different in that I don't have a daily. And so you guys will probably notice that difference as we go. This next page, as I'm setting this part up, as you can see, it's going to be my 2018 goals, and I will go ahead and update this probably on a quarterly fashion. And I think it's good to have goals, but you also have to recognize that your goals are going to change, or some of them you may finish and you need to go ahead and mark them off, or you might review your goals and go, man, I really need to get this done. And so I do think that you need to review goals and not just set them like a New Year's resolution and just be like, I'm going to do this. Well, you may need to do this, but that need may change depending on how the year goes. So in review of this page, I did do it in sort of a bee-like manner, and the octagons remind me of a honeybee hive, and that's why I've gone ahead and colored them in with yellowish colors. I was going to do different colors for all of them, but I really liked the yellow color and I couldn't find another of the Tombows that I just really liked that much for this page. And as you can see, the octagons helped me to separate out my goals into 4 different things, which is home, finance, personal and crafting. I do have a little bit of a crafting problem, and so that's why I've put that in my goals so that I can kind of manage that and not just every time I see something new that somebody's doing that I'm going to try and just go ahead and learn that new craft, whether it's painting or soap making or any of my other new ones. I'm just trying to manage those a little bit better. This is going to be my opening to January and just sort of a title page to get in there. I didn't really use these very much in my last journal, so I don't know if I will continue doing those, but I thought it was an interesting because I had a open page there because I usually do my monthly setups in a 2-page spread like I am doing here. So as you can see, I've done another little circle just to sort of coincide with the first page, and it sort of goes together well. And then I've got a little month tracker for the next one up in the top right hand corner, and then I'm just putting in my sort of dashboard type things, which are my bills, the to-do page, my savings goals, and I'm using a Pentel Energel pen to do this, and I really like writing with gel pens as more than I like writing with the Uniball fine liners or any fine liners for that matter, because I do feel like, I guess the way that I write, if I press too hard, I'll make sort of an edge to the fine liners, and then I feel like my writing is just not as nice. And then what I'm doing here is going back through, and this is my monthly calendar, and I've kind of stuck with this monthly calendar for quite a while. In my previous bullet journal, it was pretty much after the first 2 or 3 months, this is how I set it up. So I may, as the year, try a different setup, but I do really like this. I'm also going through and putting in here the weeks for each one, which is something new that I didn't do last year. And the reason I'm doing this is because I do have the savings goal, which you guys will see later when I do a financial setup, it's broken down into weeks is how it's done. This next page is my habit tracker, and in my previous bullet journal, I had a habit tracker for each month, and then I had a mood tracker, but I did it on a whole page. And while that was really pretty looking, it was not very functional because I wasn't very good about every day switching back to that page and filling in my mood tracker. And I also did it with multicolor, so I had a color code system, but that just didn't work for me either because I just didn't want to go and look for that color to then fill it in on that specific page. So this way what I'm doing is more of a mood tracker on my habit tracker page, because I also found that even though I would do a full page for my habit tracker, I was not using all of the spaces up. And so just to kind of give a different look, because you've got 2 trackers there and kind of separate them out more than just with the title pages, I did sort of a dash mark setup for the mood tracker. And I started doing it with the ruler there, but as I went, it just seemed a little bit excessive because it was such a small amount. And we have, since I have the dot grid Leuchtturm, the dots were there, so I just figured I would follow those a little bit. It might not be perfect, but since there's so much going on there, you can't really tell if it's not 100% perfect. And then this next page here is going to be my meal planner page. And I usually do fill in the meal planner page with a little bit, which I had forgotten. So I was glad I used the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen because it does not smudge with the Tombows, even with that short amount of time that it had dried. And then just putting in the title there for the meal plan. There was the smudge there that I erased. The next page here is going to be my sleep tracker, and I have it set up so that I have the hours that I slept on the left hand side, and then I use the right hand side for notes. So if I wake up and have a really cool dream, then I can record it there. If I have the emergency phone and I'm getting up in the middle of the night, I can record it there. And if I have just anything about the dogs waking up or notation there that I need to make, then I have it there. And I use my Fitbit Alta HR to track my sleep, and then every morning I just go ahead and fill in the boxes based on that sleep. At one point, I was going to try and record like my REM sleep, when I wake up, all of those things, but I found it just a little bit too much. And I figured if I wanted more in depth analysis there, and I could go to my Fitbit and look at that. But otherwise, I just tend to like to use it for just sort of a broad overview of how often I'm sleeping. And then since I don't have dailies, I have on that left hand side my to do page for the month. And I like to put that next to the brain dump page so that if I'm not really using my brain dump page, I can go back and use that as my to do. And then just a quick flip through here, just filling in the little stars there with some yellow. And then last but not least, I use these little stickers that I got off of Amazon to mark the days, and I have different colors for different things. So blue is going to be monthly stuff, pink is my habit tracker, and the yellow is to do. So while I just finish up, I hope that you enjoyed my bullet journal, and I hope that you will subscribe and like. Thanks.